formula were tainted with a type of bacteria that can cause the illness. Investigators in at least 3 states say the formula remains on some store shelves despite the recent recall of all products nationwide. Infant botulism is potentially deadly. Symptoms can take up to 30 days to develop, and the illness requires immediate medical attention. Rich Thomason reporting.
Investors are trying to find some clarity in newly released minutes of the Fed's October meeting. In those deliberations, some policymakers expressed support for further interest rate cuts this year, but not all committed to making that reduction at their next meeting in December. Some officials said it would, quote, likely be appropriate to keep rates unchanged for the rest of the year. You'll find more of these stories at townhall.com.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Born in 1987, at 5 weeks old, this mixed-race, mostly black boy was adopted by a white couple. He ended up getting into college and proved that he had the mental toughness, the ability, the skill to play. Soon he had a $126 million contract. $54 million could be earned in bonuses. And then in 2016, he sat on the bench during the national anthem. Why? He was worried about racial disparity, multi-million dollars and his disparity. And, of course, about police brutality and everything else. And so began the demise of the NFL. Now, contrast that 1949 season to this last Sunday. This last Sunday, many were flying flags, honoring our Americans. Kaepernick had a right to do what he wanted under our First Amendment. But just because he had the right to do didn't mean he should. And to me, it gave me great heart to see once again U.S. flags honored, praised, recognized at the NFL.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
So I hear an out-of-towner asking someone, where's the best place to eat? Before they could respond, I said, Cafe Napoli. Where? Well, I said, Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Napoli 2 in Town and Country, Napoli 3 in St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C, and then you got Napoli Kirkwood, plus you got Napoli Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield. You'll find Napoli everywhere. It's not too early to book a party and buy gift cards. Cafe Napoli.
Duck season opens November 1st in Missouri's North Zone, and deer rifle season starts November 15th. Hunters, are you ready? Mike Ferguson here for Whistle Pig Outdoors. They have everything you need. Stock up on premium ammo, upgrade your decoy spread, and stay dry with top-quality, field-tested waders. Whistle Pig also has big game clothing, deer stands, blinds, and scents. From waterfowl to whitetail, Whistle Pig Outdoors has you covered on North Main in Troy or at whistlepigoutdoors.com.
News Talk STL. This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose. Let me straddle my own saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences. Gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hobbles and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Thursday to all of you and yours. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL, the 3 Martini Lunch, Common Sense Radio. Jamie Allman here, Ashlyn right over there, and we're kicking it off. Oh, all right. So we have Dick Cheney's funeral going on right now, and they must have kept him for a long time because I think he died a long time ago, but I don't know. I thought he died a long time ago. I mean, what I mean is not a long time ago, meaning a long time ago. I mean, like 3 weeks ago or something, but I don't know. But anyway, against the backdrop of that, there is a report out there that the Bush dynasty wants to make a comeback, meaning they want to not be in exile anymore and take back the GOP. What did I tell you, people? I told you these guys are all kind of snooping around. They're waiting for President Trump to leave office so they could somehow regain the control of the party and everything else, which is why it is so critically important that we make sure that 2026 is stuffed with more MAGA reinforcement. It's going to be absolutely critical that we do that. So that's real. I'm telling you, since they couldn't kill him, right, they're just going to have to wait until he's done, which is why these guys are all sitting here trying to say, hey, don't nuke the filibuster because the Democrats might have it. Yeah, he died November 3rd. Okay, got it. It was a while ago. Thank you, Ashlyn. So anyway, that's not unusual, I guess, but for like it's a body, though, you know. Like it's not, he wasn't cremated or anything. So none of my business. Anyway, that's happening. So they don't want to nuke the filibuster, ostensibly because, the Democrats might have power. So we can't do it now. It's like because of the Democrats, right? You bust your rear end to become the dominating party and your actions are dictated by what the Democrats might do. Good job. Good move. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. The pansies that are involved in this GOP operation are just beyond the pale. So anyway, keep your eye on that. I'll talk about this a little later on because I do have some tidbits I need to talk to you about. And the other interesting thing is Nikki Haley's son is running around out there now. This is all kind of happening in the same week. And actually, Nikki Haley's son makes some sense here, talking about, he says basically no non-naturalized citizen should be president of the United States. And I think he's probably right. So we'll get to that as well. Becky Noble from Red State and Substack and beyond is going to be on with us as well. And I'm seeing, I think I just saw Ann Wagner. Huh, okay. At the funeral, seeing some faces. Mitch McConnell, by the way, good job basically banning hemp. These guys, I'm telling you, I told you that my friends from Grunt Style were saying this. This was slipped into the bill that was finally to end the shutdown. And essentially it destroys the hemp industry. So basically what happens is if you sell like THC drinks, like I've been pushing this black market THC for a while, and those a year from now it'll be illegal. It's pretty unbelievable. I mean, Laura Distributing just got a hold. I just set them up and got black market to be distributed by Lore, which is a great company and super amazing. But and they're selling it like crazy, and the chances are pretty good that in some way, shape, or form, this won't be happening anymore. Thank you, Mitch McConnell of all people. So we'll follow up on that. On a slightly lighter note, this is very interesting. So I think I heard this a while back, but then I forgot about it, and then wish I would have asked my mom more about it. So I got this really wonderful note from my cousin Jenny, Very beautiful sympathy note. My cousins all on my dad's side all really love my mom, and my mom loved them. And so Jenny wrote this wonderful note, and it talked about my mom and talked about some of the special things that she did. And then she reminded me that it was a handwritten card. It's like people don't do that anymore, do they? Yeah, they don't. Anyway, she reminded me that my mom was a runner-up to be Miss Lois on Romper Room. Isn't that crazy, people? And the reality is, back in the day when I did the show on another station, I interviewed Miss Lois on Romper Room and didn't even mention that she and my mom were in a competition for the job, and Miss Lois wound up winning. But
Time for Romper Room School. And my name is Miss Lois, and I'm certainly
you turn
glad
that up a
you're
little
here
bit. Thank
today,
you.
because this is kind of a special day for me and for Romper Room School and KTVI.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So I watched this show when I was a kid, and so the idea that somehow in some way like I would have been like watching my mom on TV was just crazy. But and Miss Romper Room was so cool because she would always take her little looking glass. First of all, she wanted everybody, you need to be a doobie, no jokes, you guys.
Reminding us today to be a tree friend. Always take good care of trees. And oh my gosh,
Oh, Miss Lois was
an
a
old friend with us, Mr.
was
Larry
a green
Usher,
revolutionary.
holding up his old cue cards and his old innumerable style. Mr. Larry, it sure is good to see you again.
Anyway, I just I just go I don't know like how this crazy stuff happens, and so I don't even know what the impetus for me. I think Miss Lois has since passed away because this was a long time ago, but I think that I don't know why I interviewed her, but I did for some reason. You know me, I get on these kicks, and then it's like, of course, I have to interview Miss Lois because I watched on Romper Room. So I interviewed her, and it was crazy. And I wish I had my archives, but I don't. I don't know where anything is. But I interviewed her, and then I never once said anything to her about that because I don't think I knew at that time. And I think it came up like one time over the past 10 years or something. And it's one of those things I really would have loved to have remembered so I could have talked to my mom about it and just asked her like what that experience was or how she managed to just kind of get in that mode where she was going to be the host of Romper Room. Next up, I'm going to interview Mr. Patches. Yeah, so back in the day, and this was, this was when I was a kid, and we had also, aside from Romper Room, there was also a show called Corky the Clown. And I remember going to see Corky the Clown live, like he was for some reason at Shaw's Garden. And I remember all of us clamoring to see Corky the Clown. At that time, it was Corky the Clown was a weatherman, I believe, on KSDK. I can't remember what the station was, but it was Cliff St. James, who was the weather guy. And he was Corky the Clown. And there was another guy, Cookie and the Captain, and that was the late, great Jim Bolin, who I had the pleasure of working with at Channel 4. And Jim Bolin was Cookie and the Captain, although I don't remember watching Cookie and the Captain, however. I don't remember I don't know whether that was an older show. And I was just kind of it was before when I was a kid, I don't know. And I also do remember Mr. Patches, but for the life of me, I don't know who played Mr. Patches. I really actually didn't expect to necessarily talk about this, but there it is, and there you have it. There you are. Yeah, on this happy Thursday. Common Sense Radio. The 3 Martini Lunch people. Yeah.
All the thoughts you never see, you are always thinking. Brain is wide, brain is deep.
So there's something
Oh, are you
crazy
sleeping?
happening
Feel the path of every day.
with the
Winter road
ongoing investigation into the Charlie Kirk assassination.
making hay.
Apparently,
Yeah, this is living. Look for
apparently there's evidence missing now.
evidence that you're worth keeping.
Or they said potentially missing. I don't even know what that means. But man,
It's so sad and
I wish these people would stop giving us reasons to be so darn suspicious. Like, can you just do something cleanly for once, people? My goodness. I'll be hitting that on the other side of this. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
Female millennial Trump supporter. I listen to it like every day. Like, seriously, you get it.
News Talk STL.
I had the pleasure of talking to Jeff Portman the other day, just trying to get a couple things going in my financial life. And so Jeff's going to help me with that. I'm not retiring or anything like that. Jeff and I joked. I said, no, I still have 2 kids in high school. I'm not retiring anytime soon. I wouldn't want to anyway. But if you are about to retire, or if you are newly retired and you're not quite sure whether anybody is really on the ball helping you, then the Gemini Wealth Group will be where you need to be. Jeff Portman is the guy, but he has an entire team, and these folks are going to make things happen for you in your retirement. I'm talking about diversifying your stock portfolio, also making sure in some way, shape, or form that you're covered when it comes to your housing costs, when it comes to your medical costs, when it comes to all those things you're going to need. The reality is these days, and this is good news for the most part, if you're prepared. So we've got a longevity thing going on now where people are living 20, 30, sometimes even 40 years past their retirement. And that's great news, but it's not so great news if you're not prepared for it. And the Gemini Wealth Group is going to make sure that you are prepared for it. As I talked about diversifying your portfolio, I talked to Jeff about this when he was in for the show, and he said, keep in mind, we just don't diversify for diversification's sake. We essentially will target really successful investments, and they have a strategy that no one else does and an approach that no one else does that could mean that you're living off of your dividends, your riches from the investments, as opposed to going into the main component of your retirement portfolio. The GeminiWealthGroup.com, the GeminiWealthGroup.com, proud sponsors of free Common Sense Conservative Radio.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Want to work with a winner? Follow the multiplier. 279 times growth in total market cap in the past nearly 30 years. 50 times growth in client assets. And ranked the #1 wealth management firm for employee advisor satisfaction by J.D. Power 3 years in a row. Choose a winner. choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE. For JD Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
We talk about race relations.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
And I'm sick and tired of it.
1019 and 94.1.
I find it to be a conversation starter.
News Talk STL.
Live on a chain. And you share the same last name. As a joke, I sent a bottle of whiskey. As you choked, you said it made you feel dirty.
Then I was waiting over here, the lab to begin. Looking for the new thing.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Allman Report. JD Allman here with you on this 3 Martini lunch. Bill is chiming in on Facebook and says, Mr. Patches was Jack Miller. Good old Jack Miller. Like some of these other guys, some of these other guys, there are other lives, but I never knew Jack Miller anywhere out of the Mr. Patches costume. So let's check in with Caroline. Young Caroline is giving a briefing. By the way, as I have told you, Mamdani is coming to the White House, and it turns out he's coming in tomorrow. So this will be interesting. There are a lot of people are like, President Trump shouldn't give him attention. It's like, do you guys know how President Trump operates? I mean, really? Come on. Here we go. Caroline.
We know these refunds will make a huge difference for Americans to help pay down their bills and use towards life's expenses. In other news this week, President Trump took a significant step toward delivering on a core campaign promise to finally close the Department of Education. To shrink the bloated federal bureaucracy, the Department of Education just entered into new interagency agreements with 4 agencies.
She says the cost of Thanksgiving dinner is down 5%. One thing I want to just address really quickly about the cost of Thanksgiving dinner. Nobody cares about the cost of Thanksgiving dinner. I've never known anybody in my lifetime who had concerns about how much Thanksgiving dinner is going to cost. Yeah, they have concerns about how much a McDonald's number 3 is going to cost every once in a while. I get it. But Thanksgiving is what it is. Thanksgiving is a commitment, okay? It's kind of like when people were complaining about the price of avocados. If you're buying avocados, you don't care how much they cost because you're going to buy avocados. Not everybody buys avocados. And if avocados are 30 cents more, nobody cares. The only thing that we really learn, and I like this, is that we're able to know that even though Thanksgiving dinner costs are down 5%, that's an indication that other foodstuffs are down and that things are becoming more affordable, as they say, or whatever you want to call it. But this whole idea, and these people who do this, the TV reporters and all these people who do these calculations of how much Thanksgiving dinner is going to cost, it drives me nuts. It's like around Christmas time, when they've done, how much would Christmas cost if it were the 12 days of Christmas? And then they calculate how much 3 swans are swimming or whatever the hell they are. I should know more about that. 5 golden rings. How much is that going to cost? It's like, this is how. And so we've determined how much the 12 days of Christmas would cost if it were happening now. I mean, this is crazy. By the way, also standing next to young Caroline is Linda McMahon. As I told you yesterday, there's a lot going on with the Department of Education. Let's take Linda. Let her. She'll tell us what's going on with the Department of Education, which is on its way out, by the way.
Being here as well. My purpose here is to speak directly to the American families, not just you, but to the American families, about the work this administration is doing in education to reverse our national decline with a hard reset of our educational system. That reset was a top campaign promise from President Trump to send education back to the states and end Washington's micromanagement of education once and for all. This week, we took the most decisive steps thus far to make good on this promise to you. We have linked 6 groundbreaking partnerships with other federal agencies to delegate education department programs that are redundant with existing.
And she's also going to point out that the education department spent $3 trillion, and there is absolutely nothing to show for it in the way of achievement. So as I told you yesterday, Linda McMahon is slowly making these changes to ultimately create the death of the Department of Education. And somebody say, well, wow, because she's the education secretary. Well, you could still have an education secretary without having the Department of Education, and she'll probably take on some formulation. But this is the beauty of the Trump administration, where you can actually get people in the cabinet who ultimately are working to make their jobs no longer needed. That's pretty incredible. And the Department of Education, it's such a boondoggle. There are so many people out there just taking and taking and taking. And so glad to hear Linda McMahon is giving us the skinny on what's happening with the Department of Education, because it is on its way out. Let's see what else Linda has to say to the world.
They see more teachers than ever before leaving the profession due to burnout, over-regulation, and lack of autonomy in the classroom. Anti-Trump voices are stirring up fear that returning education to the states is a draconian action. When Americans hear that we are shutting down the department, but given no other details, 51% oppose it. But when those same Americans are informed of our plans to preserve important elements of our work in other federal agencies and to maintain the K-12 funding that is distributed to the states, that number flips to an even greater majority at 56%.
There you go. So you see what's happening here. It's so interesting because we watched this ever since President Trump was sworn into office. So you have the situation where you have all these people who are on the left who are doing their No Kings rally, right? And they're acting like President Trump is acting like a king, when the reality is they are acting like a bunch of king's subjects in fighting to preserve royalties like the Department of Education, royalties like USAID, royalties like public television and NPR, royalties like any other spending that we've been doing. They worship government. They worship the crown. These are the same kinds of people. I guarantee you, if this were back in the day during the time of the colonists and everything else, the people you're seeing out on the street with their No Kings rally, or who are protesting Doge cuts, those people we would have had to kill. Don't take it too far here. What I'm saying is those people were the people who were going to fight on the side of the crown. Half these people we're seeing out on the street there, if we needed to have some kind of revolution, you wouldn't be able to count on them, because we're actually having the revolution against them now. And they're actually the ones who are acting like the kings. They're the ones who are acting like the royals. I've never imagined in a million years how I would see so many bootlicking Americans who worship the FBI and the CIA and the deep state and any kind of bureaucracy you could possibly imagine. There's not one bureaucracy that they won't bootlick about. That's what the liberals have become. It's crazy. And we become the hippies. I mean, it's nuts. But the liberals are all, I mean, these people are the modern day J. Edgar Hoovers. It's really crazy. And they love gigantic, monolithic organizations. I mean, and you know what's going to happen today? You just heard Linda McMahon talk and talk live. By the time this hits the network news organizations, it's going to be that this is a disaster, that they're going in and they're taking our children's educations away. You could probably tell by the tones of the questions or whatever that I'm not taking live here. But by the time this is hitting ABC and CBS and CNN and MSNBC, this will be considered like a rape of the educational system. I guarantee you there will be no positive elements to this story whatsoever. And the reality is, what's so funny is they're going to hurt our children's educations. That's what a lot of these people will say. And the reality is you can't hurt our children's education any more than what the status quo is already doing. The total lack of achievement. Before I ended the show yesterday, I told you about the devolving math scores and all that kind of stuff in this country now, mainly as a leftover from the COVID Nazis, the COVID royalty. Remember that COVID royalty? Remember all the left telling you, forcing you to get vaccines, forcing you to wear masks, closing down your schools? You don't get much more authoritarian than that. And suddenly, and we're the authoritarians? It's kind of crazy, but that's the world these flat earthers all live in. But you can't harm our education any more than you already have. You've got books that 3-year-olds can read that describe sex acts, for crying out loud. You've got boys in girls' bathrooms. You've not to mention the academics, the scholastics that are going right down the tubes. So how could it possibly get any worse? And then you also have an NEA that ultimately these people all ought to be in the Nuremberg box for what they did to our children during COVID and what the NEA continues to do to our children now. So you dismantle the Department of Education, you're also dismantling the NEA. And then at the state level, what will happen is you'll have to figure that out and how you deal with the NEA. And then the next step, after the states take over all of this, we need to start electing superintendents, just like they did in Oklahoma. We need to start electing superintendents. Superintendents ought to be elected positions, and I don't care whether it's partisan or not. They need to be elected positions because it's worked in Oklahoma. It's worked in the other states where the superintendents are elected officials. And so I am all for it. I want to get to this really quickly because I promised you I would. Becky Noble's coming in as well. But I want to follow up on the Charlie Kirk murder case that I teased about in the first segment here. I want to make sure I get to it so I don't, so I'm not a liar, you know what I'm saying? So there's a KUTV in Salt Lake City, Utah, did this story. And this investigative reporter, they discovered there might be possible missing evidence in the Charlie Kirk murder case. And I'm not quite sure what possible missing evidence is. Like, it's either missing or it's not. Like, or I can understand that maybe it's not missing. Maybe it's just in another cabinet. I don't know. But anyway, here is Here's the reporter from KU Television, Channel 2 News.
Qualifications only select number of defense attorneys in Utah have in order to defend cases with a capital offense, some involving a possible death penalty. He's not affiliated with the case involving Tyler Robinson, who's accused of shooting and killing Charlie Kirk back in September. I showed him what I found that could indicate there's potential missing evidence in the case.
He said, "Hey, I know who Charlie Kirk's shooter is."
On September 17th, 2025, Washington County Sheriff Nate Brooksby held a press conference.
Our job was not to interview. Our job was just to get him here.
After Charlie Kirk's alleged shooter was taken into custody in Washington County less than 2 days after the shooting.
Within the hour, my friend drove Tyler and his parents to my office, where he was greeted by plainclothes detectives.
After learning of this, I submitted a public records request to obtain any video of Tyler Robinson walking into the jail facility. Washington County responded saying there were no records responsive to the request, as Robinson did not go to the jail area. Our request for any holding room video was denied. A few weeks later, I re-upped the request on a more generalized scale for surveillance video showing Tyler Robinson walking into the sheriff's office.
For the state of Utah, we would certainly hope that this video is available.
The response? Our office does not have any applicable records responsive to this request, as the surveillance footage is no longer available after the 30-day retention period.
If in fact it has been destroyed and not preserved, it's very concerning.
Yeah, you'd think it would be, and I'm not quite sure the ramifications and the relevancy that this surveillance video would have in this investigation, or indeed even in his defense or his prosecution. But if you can imagine, Charlie Kirk is assassinated, and they still apply this 30-day expiration on surveillance tape. Like it turns into a pumpkin after 30 days still. You'd think in a case like this, that you would retain everything related to the Charlie Kirk case. And that's one of the things that's most important here.
And if it has, then it's very concerning that they're telling you they don't have it. If they no longer have it, I would have expected to say that this video has been provided to the Utah County law enforcement. Please contact them. But instead, this letter leads, in my opinion, as trying to shut the door and not give you free access to the press.
While it's not clear if the video exists and was just handed over to another agency, in a response to me, Washington County shared with me they don't believe the video was shared with anyone involved in the case.
Wanting to get videos showing that he turned himself in and the manner he did so would be crucial for the defense work of mitigation.
26 years as a criminal defense attorney in Utah, Bautista is currently working another capital case in Utah County.
So anyway, you get the picture here, and he just did describe the relevancy of the surveillance tape. I still don't really understand it, but I do understand the ramifications of sloppy custodianship of records, and whether or not this type of surveillance video is relevant to the case. The fact of the matter is it may be missing, or it was destroyed because it was there's a 30-day expiration period. It's like, you got to be kidding me. I'll follow up on this and make sure we do it. So back to the education secretary in the news conference. A lot of the reporters are like, well, what about the grant money? Is there still going to be grant money? It's like, oh my Lord, people. All the little piggies are wanting to make sure that their gravy train isn't going to be upended. It's crazy. Becky Noble on the way, and story about a bunch of plumbers who got rich off of illegal immigration, meaning they were hiring them. And maybe it's high time the other shoe in the border control and immigration battle is to finally start arresting people who have employed them, you see. Welcome to the Three Martini Lunch. It's Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hanson's Tree Service, and you're getting kind of the drift here, right? That it's going to be a little blustery over the next few months. And when it's blustery and you have trees that are compromised, maybe by last winter, and then the extreme heat of the summer, that has an effect on trees, and especially the big limbs and those kinds of things. So then suddenly we get some big November windy, blustery day, and those limbs are coming down on your people or your property, and it is a mess. So Hanson's Tree Service and Becky Noble and the other guys, they'll come out, assess your trees, deadwooding and pruning, especially right now, before everything gets really wintry and we get into that mode, is essential to the well-being of your family, of your property, and of course the well-being of your trees in general. They do plenty of tree takedowns as well. If you need that, they'll go ahead and do it. They'll even finance the tree takedowns for you. If you don't feel like you can write a check off the bat, that's fine. And they also have mulching. Some people use mulching. They prepare their gardens, do whatever, put with mulch and that kind of stuff. They still have that available to you. But the important thing, the priority right now, is to make sure that your trees are healthy. And if they're not, that they are deadwooded and pruned so they don't start hurting you or your property. So check it out. Hanson's Tree Service, longtime supporters of free, common sense, conservative radio. Jeff Hanson, my late, great, dear friend, his son, Chad, is doing an amazing job living the dream of Jeff Hanson and Hanson's Tree Service. And thank you, Chad, for your support of free, common sense, conservative radio ongoing. HansonsTree.com. That's HansonsTree.com.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros and Exteriors, your all-in-one service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. Christine and I discovered Gutter Pros and Exteriors when we bought our home and inherited a gutter problem. And they've also repaired siding damage on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros team are also the best for repairing other exterior damage, including fascia, soffit, and all siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros and Exteriors can help your home or business right now at gutterpros.com.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Hi, it's Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show, and I'm here with Dr. Grant Black. And Grant, capitalism, that is increasingly under attack. But why is the free market system so important?
The simple answer, society is much better off because of free markets. Free markets allow individuals and business owners to freely choose what to consume, how to save, where to live and do business, what to produce, and how to protect our valuable resources, and so much more. And this can all happen without requiring heavy government interference. In a nutshell, free markets empower people to live their lives the way they choose. And this makes all our lives better.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
Hey, Colombo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Colombo and Company.
The Missouri AG just issued a court filing to protect the state's new congressional map from growing opposition. We'll discuss the latest Thursday with Rep. Justin Sparks.
Live and local, weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone.
I'm so in love with you. I just can't deny it.
This is a 3 Martini Lunch, and this is Common Sense Radio. And this is one of my guilty pleasures. I don't know. Peter Cetera. You like Peter Cetera, Ashley? Hello? Is your mic up? There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
I've never heard of him, but
yeah.
I like it.
He used to be with Chicago, but I actually like his his solo stuff better. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Common Sense Radio. You know, I got my friend Tracy texted me and said, because she's watching on the Facebook page, and she said, you know, the strings on your hoodie are uneven and it's driving me crazy. I'm like, okay. So I fixed them. Oh, things that occupy people these days. But I fixed it anyway, because the last thing I want to do is annoy my friends, you know. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Becky Noble, longtime friend and great conservative and wonderful writer there on Substack, as well as at Red State, and of course also has her podcast going. So Becky Noble, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm good, Jamie. How are you?
Good. Are you now? Let's see. When does your Red State piece drop, or is it whenever you want it to?
Well, I'm usually trying to be on every day. I'm working on something right now that'll probably be up later on this afternoon. So, I'm here and putting the work in.
What's it about?
Well, it's about the special election that's going to happen in a couple weeks in Tennessee, and about one of the Democrat candidates that's running. She's I'll just give you a little. I don't want to spoil it or anything, but she's got an interesting campaign message.
Oh,
I'll put it that way.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll have to make sure we check it out there at redstate.com. I was saying earlier too, I mean, a lot of these local elections, it really is interesting that even though we might not be voting in them, they're still relevant. I mean, just look what happened in New York City with Mamdani, which is very consequential. It's not just a parochial type of issue. In fact, to the point where he's even coming to the White House tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. And in fact, I wrote, I guess last week maybe, about this possible meeting. And, you know, wouldn't you want to be a fly on the wall for this meeting? Because I think that one of the things I wrote about was that, is he going to, you never know. Is he going to get kind of a feeling that he needs to keep his friends close and his enemies closer if he considers Donald Trump an adversary? Because Trump has already said if he's going to try to implement all kinds of crazy policies, he's not getting any federal money. So has that gotten Mamdani's attention enough to where he's thought, hey, maybe I need to go and sit down with this guy, and, you know, whether or not it's to butter him up or, you know, I think like a lot of other Democrats and Democrat socialists, whatever you want to call them, he's going to underestimate Trump. And, you know, it'll be interesting, I think really super interesting to see what comes out of the meeting, because, you know, we know Trump's not going to play around with him, and he probably thinks that he's the smartest guy in the room and that he's going to try to get one over on Trump. So I think that back and forth would be probably pretty interesting.
Well, you know, let me tell you something. I definitely don't think Trump is going to be buttering up Mamdani. And I think at this point, what we're going to probably end up seeing is President Trump kind of giving Mamdani a little bit of an ego check. And Mamdani's going to come to the White House. Trump is going to basically say in no uncertain terms, like, I don't know who you think you are, but I think that you whatever you want to do, you can keep on making your statements, all that kind of thing. But keep in mind, the life I gave you, I could always also take because Mamdani wouldn't exist without Trump, and Mamdani won't continue to exist without Trump. So I think there's a big influence that he might have on that whole outfit there. Mamdani, though, you know what's going to happen, though. He's going to go in the meeting. Trump's going to tell him whatever it is he wants to tell him off the grid. Mamdani's probably going to come out and beat his chest again. That'll probably be the deal, because Mamdani's not going to come out and compliment President Trump. So it'll just never happen, because what will happen is he will all of his weirdos who love him will feel betrayed if he does. So he's not going to do that. So we'll see.
That's true. Yeah. He'll come out and say, and be very general. And, we had a great meeting, and we talked about a lot of things, but he's not going to give any specifics because he can't. Because, like you said, Trump's gonna, I think, basically kind of say, "Look here, punk," like you just said. I gave you life, and I can take it away.
Yeah, I mean, and again, as you point out, on a technical level, it's true because of the federal funding and everything else. And Mamdani knows that even though he's a socialist, he knows what money means, as we already know that, because he's been begging for it from his constituents ongoing. So he's still for his campaign and all that stuff. So he knows he knows what money makes the world go round.
Exactly. Especially other people's money.
Exactly right. Well, Becky, we'll see you on Red State, redstate.com. Sorry for the short little hit here. And then Substack, what's going on there on your Substack?
Well, there's be a new one up this afternoon. I'm just kind of pointing out maybe that there are some different factions in the Republican Party right now that maybe Republicans themselves aren't really aware of.
Oh, well, that should be interesting, because I was just saying earlier, and I'll get to this on the other side of this break, that there's talk that the Bush dynasty wants to make a comeback of sorts. So and that's going to be a most unwelcome development, and we'll be sure that is heartily conveyed to anybody who is shepherding the Bush dynasty back in. So we'll see how it goes. All right. Well, that'll be interesting to see, especially the other factions. I mean, it is kind of interesting how there are some people who are positioning themselves, and I think some people actually are not there to basically continue with the Make America Great Again situation. They're just trying to take Trump out and then move in. But I don't think that's going to happen, which is why we need to keep an eye on J.D. Vance and also on the 2026 midterms, because we need to replenish the supply of Make America Great Againers,
Yes, most definitely.
Definitely.
It's going to be interesting.
Yes, indeed. Well, Becky, thank you so much for everything, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll talk to you later on.
Thank you so much, Jamie.
All right, thank you. That is Becky Noble. This is Common Sense Radio. And yeah, can you imagine a return of the Bush family? And for some reason, Nikki Haley's son is out there on the public forums and on podcasts and things. And actually, he's making sense, though. I'll talk about that. And plus, all the plumbers getting rich off illegal aliens. We'll talk about that, too. This is Common Sense Radio.
Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Vic.
When you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or CONNER roofing.com.
Thanks, Vic.
Long before hospitals had sports injury clinics, Esquire Sports Medicine was already treating and healing those injuries. Esquire chiropractic physicians don't just deal with the spine, neck, back, knees, also your muscular system. You're in a wreck, injured on the job, Esquire's ready. And I know if you're hurting, you don't want to wait. Esquire Sports Medicine sees new patients within 24 hours on Big Bend, just north of Highway 40. EsquireSportsMedicine.com.
Craving authentic Cuban flavors? Come home to Havana 1961, where family recipes passed down through generations come to life in every bite. From chef and owner Mama Maria's famous Cuban sandwiches to classic entrees bursting with bold, fresh flavors, we bring the warmth and tradition of Havana Right here to Missouri, Havana, 1961, where great food, culture, and community come together. On Main, in St. Peter's, or at Havana1961.com. We welcome you like familia.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. U.S. employers added a surprisingly solid 119,000 jobs in September, more than twice the number that most analysts were expecting. Correspondent Mike Hempen reports there's a new poll out showing Americans generally like democracy, but most don't think it's working well right now.
A new Kettering Foundation Gallup poll shows only about 1/4 of U.S. adults think democracy is functioning very or moderately well, but around half believe it is functioning very or moderately poorly in the U.S. The results show a sharp decline from several years ago, when a majority of American adults thought democracy was generally working the way it should. I'm Mike Hempen.
Federal investigators have released photos of an engine flying off a doomed UPS cargo plane that crashed, killing 14 people in Kentucky 2 weeks ago. They say that there was evidence of cracks in the left wing engine's mount. That crash left all 3 pilots on board dead. 11 people on the ground were also killed. On Wall Street, a reversal for stocks. They had been in positive territory, but right now the Dow is down 355 points. The NASDAQ off by 349. The S&P 500 off about 80 points. Correspondent Donna Warder reports on the smell of the holidays in the New York City subway.
Bath & Body Works is pumping a fragrance into the 42nd Street shuttle train platform. Jerome Murray is enjoying it.
It smells better than the normal New York City tunnels that we normally smell here. So, yeah, I appreciate it.
Mari Shallon says it smells like the holidays.
It really felt like Christmas. And I think it would be so nice for the holiday season.
Bath & Body Works says it will have sprayed some 20 to 30 pounds of fragrance in the subway by the time the campaign ends at the end of November. I'm Donna Warder.
More of these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, it's Mike Gallagher, host of The Mike Gallagher Show. I don't mess around when it comes to saving you money. Right now, rates have dropped to the lowest level in over a year and a half. That means if you bought your home or refinanced in the last 3 years, you could be saving hundreds of dollars every month. Lower your rate, lower your monthly payment, even kick that pesky PMI to the curb. And get this, you can skip 2 full months of mortgage payments. But that's not all. Fellowship Home Loans just rolled out something incredible. Their very own HELOC and lines of credit. Approval in just 5 minutes. Money in your account in as little as 4 days. It's the easiest system you've ever used. You can do it yourself online. Whether you want to pay off bills, tackle a home project, cover education, or even a wedding, Fellowship Home Loans makes it simple to leverage the money that's already sitting in your house. Just go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending guided by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 81938.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a cool gray day out there under overcast skies. We still have a few showers south of St. Louis, and we could see a sprinkle or two throughout the day today, but not a lot of additional rain until tonight when the rain surges back through the area. Widespread showers and a few rumbles of thunder overnight tonight through at least the first half of Friday before that rain shifts off to the north and leaves us with a dry weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Looking for the best selection of firearms in the St. Louis region? Drive to Osage County Guns.
Conveniently located off I-70, just 25 minutes from St. Charles. We've got thousands of guns in stock, the largest selection of handguns, rifles, and shotguns around. Trade in or sell your old guns for cash and shop our wide variety of premium Winchester ammunition made right here in the USA. Visit us online at ocgmo.com, or better yet, make the drive to Osage County Guns and see why we're the St. Louis region's favorite.
1 in 4 women will have an abortion before the age of 45 in this country. That's the tragedy we must work to stop. Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show here, and that is why Reach Reproductive Health is here, to empower parents to save the lives of innocent children and to see these families come to Christ. And you can be a part of saving and changing lives. So pray and visit outreachforlife.org to learn more, volunteer, and donate. That's outreachforlife.org.
Hello, Kirk Hilsinger, Chairman of the Republican Party, City of St. Louis. Join us for our Christmas party on December 11th. Tickets may be purchased by cash or check, or you may purchase tickets through our website at stl-gop.com. We will have dinner and silent auction. In addition, we will be collecting donations for Toys for Tots. So bring an unwrapped toy for a family in need. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we look forward to fighting for you in 2026.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
This app is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
To keep my hands on myself. Pick out dust them off, put them back up on the shelf. Kiss my little baby girl isn't me. Am I coming out of left field? Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio. And this is the 3 Martini Lunch, as they say. The Allman Report on News Talk STL. So, yeah, Linda says, oh, well, she telling she has COVID, and for the 3rd time now. As much as I like the program, this is also what she says, as much as I like the program, not wild about encouraging alcohol, we don't drink. Well, no wonder, of course, then you're not wild about encouraging because you don't drink. So I do, and other people do too. So I know it's a free country and most do. However, I would recommend moderation. Okay, Benjamin Franklin, thank you. The 3 Martini Lunch really isn't like, it's not literal. So I just want to let you know that I call it the 3 Martini Lunch because that's what used to happen like in the 60s. So it's not me telling people to have 3 martinis. I didn't know whether that is clear, but I might as well make it clear since evidently it's not clear. So, but alcohol kills COVID, so maybe if you drank more, you wouldn't have had COVID. I don't know. I'm going to be flagged by the misinformation people. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm no more of an expert or less of an expert than anybody else out there. Remember what they told you about ivermectin and, you know, all that other stuff? And they said it didn't, you know, what's the other thing they call the horse tranquilizer or something? I don't know. Playing that song again. But, yeah, so who knows what it does? I have to tell you, my mom lived to be 96 years old. And when I asked her their keys to her longevity, one time I said, Mom, did you ever exercise? And she's like, no. And that's how she said it. exercise. Like looked at me like that was something out of nowhere. And so, but she did. I know she did walk places, and she was a farm girl, and so she walked a lot. And she worked at the library there, and she walked at school, walked to the school up there, and so she definitely, and she hustled. She had 6 kids, so she had that exercise going for her, and she said to me that I one time told her, I said, I noticed that like when I was growing up, you like rarely had dinner. Like my mom basically would not eat a big dinner. And instead what she would have, she'd have port wine cheese and a vodka or 2. And she did that every day. Had a drink every day. And so what she would do is this is a key. First of all, she had good genes, by the way. Her dad lived to be 101. So she had good genes, and she took care of herself. She didn't eat like crap. And I think one of the problems we have is we eat so much in the way of processed foods and everything else. When she was growing up, she ate like real food that was grown or from a farm or things like that. So she ate real food and didn't eat crap ever. Like you wouldn't catch my mother dead eating a McDonald's hamburger. Like she didn't have fast food. And when we were growing up, there was no sugared cereal in the house, except the most sugared it got was like Raisin Bran with the little sugar stuff on it, or maybe Life cereal. But I just basically grew up seeing like commercials for Trix and Fruit Loops, and just figured that was for somebody in another world, because there wasn't a chance in hell I was ever going to eat Trix or Fruit Loops for breakfast. And it was always real butter. And we had no processed foods in the house, no sugared cereals, no soda. There's never the only time I was going to ever drink a soda is when we had company or something. And even then it was that like ghetto vest soda or whatever it was, or some like Schnucks brand A&P soda or something. Now having a Coke and a Sprite, oh my Lord, that was for some other world, And so we didn't have any of that, and so we just ate. I think the most processed we ever had as kids was probably fish sticks on Friday. That was what we had. As we had like Mrs. Paul's fish sticks or something on Friday. And that was pretty much it. But we didn't, there was never any of that other stuff in the house, and Kool-Aid maybe. And then even then, it was never like the real Kool-Aid. We had to get that ghetto ass Weilers all the time. So like my mom was a great penny pincher. Anyway, so the long and short of it is, so she would eat a good breakfast, moderate lunch, and a very small dinner. So that's the rule of thumb basically is, I think you breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, dinner like a pauper. There's no reason to have a big dinner ever. And to this day, I still don't do that. So, but my mom, when we talked about that, I talked about her key to longevity. We talked about all that. And then she specifically mentioned vodka. So I'm just saying, not giving you medical advice, but I am saying that is a truthity. I'm not telling people what to do or anything of that nature. I'm just saying that actually it might actually work. You just never know. All right. on to the matter at hand. So for some reason, Nikki Haley's son, Nayland, is out there, and he went on Tucker Carlson's show, which is really pretty interesting. And this is what he had to say. I don't know how Tucker got wind of him, but this is what he had to say.
And there's so many different aspects to immigration that it's not just the migration part of it, but a lot of other things that are just out of control.
Like what?
So naturalized citizens should not be able to hold public office. Growing up here is a big part of understanding the country. We need to stop and limit the amount of foreign students that are coming into our universities. Some of them are spies, by the way, for foreign governments, but it's also just we should put our kids first.
Yes.
And we should also not allow dual citizenship because that's the stupidest idea. You're either American or you're not. And everyone wants to make it so complicated. That's the thing that I don't like about the past generations. They're always about the rules, the process, and regulation. No, it's really simple. You're just America first. People should have their loyalty to America first. And if they can't do that, then this ain't the country for you.
Pretty interesting, huh? That naturalized citizens should not be able to be like people who come here and then become citizens shouldn't be eligible for president. I guess technically there are people out there saying, well, technically he's right because essentially the Constitution talks about being born here. And that's why one of the reasons why Arnold Schwarzenegger, they talked about him being president, but he couldn't be. So anyway. Oh, Phil, you had to mention Tang, huh? No, we didn't have Tang either. Tang was for the neighbors because they had all that stuff. They had like Oreo cookies and Tang and things like that. And even then, when it came time for cookies, we wouldn't have Oreo. We would have to go a step below all the time to Hydrox. You know Hydrox? Those are like knockoff ghetto-ass Oreos. So there's like, you can't like spend 10 more cents and get Oreos? No, Hydrox. And so anyway, but Tang, yeah, no. And then all the people I go to school and all the kids in their lunch boxes. It's like, you don't need a lunch box. Here's a brown paper bag. I'm like, okay. All these other people had like Lost in Space lunch boxes, and I had like Ogle and thermoses, And I will tell you though, but I would have, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and an apple that sat on top of it, so that by the time lunch came around, it was soggy in the middle. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe like a homemade peanut butter cookie or something. But I remember all these kids all, eating like space sticks. Remember those, like space sticks? And they'd have like Tang in their thermoses and stuff. But let me tell you something. As much as I talk about this, I will tell you for sure that I never once in my lifetime ever felt deprived. Not one time. And I thank it's by the grace of God and, the teachings of my mom, who was very patient and also very happy. That's one thing for sure that is also, I think, a key to longevity is mind your own friggin' business and be happy with what you have. And that's pretty much a great little key. I feel like Norman Vincent Peale all of a sudden, And my mom, speaking of that, my mom, remember we had like Reader's Digest, and my mom was my mom was like the person who liked those self-help books too, like the Dr. Wayne Dyer, like I'm okay, you're okay. Those kind of books. She loved all those things. I did remember one time though, I was in their bedroom and I saw this book called Fear of Flying. And it was Erica Jong. And it wasn't until later on in my life that I learned that the book was about sex. So, just saying that you got to think about that as well in your lifetime. All right. Now I'm going to ruin my appetite and talk about the Bush family. So here we go. It appears here that the Bush family is plotting a comeback to retake the GOP from President Trump. I'm like, wow, good timing, guys, because that's just what the doctor ordered is more Bushes. I mean, this is so typical of the GOP. You know, this is so typical of these individuals who think that we've all just been biding our time for them to come back, like the second coming of the Bushes. You know, like, wow, we're so sick of Donald Trump. You know what this country needs is a good old fashioned G.W. Bush again. I mean, who do these people think they are? Liz Cheney and these guys. Yeah, I know what those rubes need. They need us. Isn't that just crazy? George W. Bush and his family reportedly planning to retake the Republican Party from President Donald Trump. Yeah, out of our cold, dead hands, you will. Listen to this. There are rumors stirring. There's a plot to end the so-called Bush exile as part of an effort to take control of the GOP from Trump and make America great again policies. Hey, you guys, I have another solution for you. You can have the GOP. How does that sound? Go ahead and take the GOP. We'll create just another party. So you can have it. It's not like the GOP is some special crown jewel. In fact, President Trump won the presidency twice, well, 3 times, I should say, in spite of the GOP. So it's not like we give a flying rip whether or not we have the GOP or not. As long as we have J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio and Donald J. Trump and Eric Trump and Barron Trump and whatever, we don't really care. So we ought to just simply respond to the Bush people and say, actually, on second thought, you guys can go ahead and have it. Take it. Take the GOP. This idea, by the way, that somehow a third party, President Trump gave the GOP a gift, and that was the gift of survival. Here's what I'm going to do, said Donald Trump. I won't run as an independent. I'll just run within the construct of the GOP and change it from the inside, and therefore save the life of the GOP. We succeeded in spite of them, and President Trump saved them. But President Trump could easily be a third party, and we would. I definitely would. I'm not part of that whole group. Well, a third party would automatically give the presidency to the Democrats. It's like, no, it won't. 10 years ago, maybe. Not this time around. I say now that the Bush people mention this and have exacerbated the problem, provoked me. I think we ought to actually formulate a plan to trash both of the parties, Democrat and Republican, and send them into the trash heap of history and move on. Anyway, rumors are stirring of a plot to end the so-called Bush exile and take back the GOP from the so-called scourge of Trumpism. So let me get this straight. So after trying to kill him twice and send him to prison and everything else, all those things have failed. So you're not going to come back and think that we need you and want you. You're out of your minds. It's called narcissism, by the way. Behind the scenes and still with deep connections around the country, a shadow Republican Party is lying in wait to take over when Trump is gone. What did I tell you, people? What have I been telling you for the past month or so, especially as it relates to what we need to do for the midterms? And that is replenish the supply of MAGA people. And while the former president is determined not to publicly criticize Trump. Oh, really? When did that start? Much to the frustration of some of his former aides, he may not be averse to quietly helping shape the Republican Party's long-term future. Good luck with that. You guys don't realize if we just decided not to support you anymore, you'd die. you wouldn't exist anymore. Without Trump and without the Make America Great Again people, the GOP, you have nobody. You've got Liz Cheney, George W. Bush, and the Lincoln Project. That's pretty much what you got. So anyway, we pull the plug on your life support. It won't be long before you're dead. And we can do that pretty easily. One person who was described as a former Bush official said that Trump knows that there's no third term option, while admitting that Vice President J.D. Vance has a head start over other possible Republican presidential candidates. So here's what we need to do also is that we need to make sure that J.D. Vance stays purebred and doesn't get lured in by the Bushites and the former GOP people, because there's a chance it's a trick. And they might say, J.D. Vance, you need us. So we need to be able to kind of get involved with you and share this GOP. J.D. Vance needs to remember that this is a trick, a ruse, and J.D. Vance and President Trump won in 2024 without Republicans. He's got to remember that. And so we got to really stay on this and make sure that it doesn't happen. Yeah, we're gonna have a comeback because President Trump's gonna take us to nuclear war. Yeah, whatever, GW. All hat, no cattle. And there's no extra U in nuclear. Okay, just letting you know, GW. Don't you have a cow to feed or something? Seriously. I'm with Linda. She says I don't even like being called a Republican anymore. I'm with you. All right. Is it time to finally start arresting, and I mean going full bore on employers hiring illegal aliens? A story about some plumbers who got super rich by violating our immigration laws. All that coming up. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
The Grasser family have been longtime supporters of free, common sense, conservative radio. I knew Shane going back all the way to 2005 when I originated Common Sense Radio. And since that time, oh my goodness, through a couple of houses here and there and everything else, the Grasser team has always been there to help me take care of any problem. No problem is too big and no problem is too small. No job is too big. No job is too small. And Grasser Electric will help resolve all of any kinds of issues you have. I do like to tell the story about how it's best sometimes when you can go around the house and do a little bit of a survey and see all those little things that are annoying you. That one plug that won't keep a plug into it, the outlet, because it's loose, and it's been doing that for 5 years now? Okay, time to get it fixed. That blinking light in the bathroom that you just ignore because you'll just turn on another light in there and I have to deal with the blinking light. That's been going on 5 years? Okay, get it fixed, and Grasser Electric will take care of it for you. That outlet that is in your bedroom, and for some reason what you're doing is you keep dragging the iron half across the bedroom to use it. Well, you know what? Why don't you just have an outlet made and created for you so it's closer so you don't have to do that anymore? Those kinds of things. And I know, and let me tell you something, I know that ceiling fan for your daughter's bedroom has been sitting in the hallway for about a year now. It's time to go ahead and get that installed. And you know what? Let Grasser do it. You can focus on your autobiography and let them take care of it for you. Commercial work is also king with Grasser Electric. And if you need some help, for instance, let's see if you want to go ahead and have them help you with your Christmas lights so that you don't blow a fuse and do all that other stuff. Grasser Electric will help you do that. They can also help you with timers and all those kinds of things, all those gadgets. Grasser Electric has those for sure. They say the green is always Grasser, and that's exactly what it's all about. Grasser Electric, GrasserElectric.com, and they also have 24-hour emergency services. And don't forget also about the awesome backup generator so that you're not without power in this rough winter we're going to have. GrasserElectric.com.
Yo, this is Vic. Vic for Vets is proudly honoring our veterans. Every Wednesday at 11:05, you'll hear about that day's honoree and their incredible service to our country.
Hi, it's Ken. You want to nominate a veteran? Send their name, service information, and story to me, Ken, at newstalkstl.com.
Brought to you by Alamo Military Collectibles and Monocle's Pizza.
Together, let's celebrate the heroes in our community. Vic for Vets, where honor meets gratitude.
Attention established cosmetologists. Ready to be your own boss? The Nook is seeking 2 talented professionals for a fresh start in your career. Get your own dedicated workspace with full creative control and endless financial opportunities. Just $150 weekly, plus 2 weeks of free rent every year to use however you want. And here's the best part. Mention News Talk STL and get your 3rd month absolutely free. Your new professional home is waiting at the Nook in O'Fallon Plaza. Call 636-385-6665.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Come join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Free martini lunch. I like watching sometimes the TVs in the studio. I'm watching that wicked, corrupt, treacherous Nancy Pelosi who got rich off of the stock market while in Congress giving some kind of news conference or something of that nature. And there's Hakeem Jeffries, who is wearing his, those things that every 45-year-old guy thinks it looks good with a suit, and that would be those sneaker-looking things, with the white soles. They wear that on Sports Center, too. Dude, you're 45. Nothing is going to make you look 25. So, but that's the thing, because I think GQ told them to. What are those called, Ashley, those kind of shoes? They're not Keds. They're Skechers or something.
Yeah, Skechers.
Yeah. Dude, you're 45 years old. Stop pretending you're 30 years old. And don't wear Skechers with your suit. Okay, I know Mr. Blackwell here, but somehow that wormed its way into that pansy GQ magazine. And now these guys you see, they're usually older guys. because younger guys actually are they're classing it up with regular like shoes, like Tide shoes and not slip-ons, that kind of thing. It's the 45-year-old dudes who are wearing the Skechers and stuff with suits. And then you go one step up the rung there, and you got like 60 and 65-year-old dudes like Sheldon Winehouse, who was also doing the news conference. And he's the guy that wears the zip-up sweater underneath his suit coat. You know those guys, right? And sometimes they'll even have like reading glasses hanging out in front. Those guys. And also, by the way, boy, I'm kind of a little chippy today, aren't I? Gee whiz. Over there on Newsmax, I'm seeing they're still talking about the Heritage Foundation and the Tucker Carlson thing. I'm thinking to myself, please stop talking about the Heritage. I don't care. Nobody cares. You guys don't care at all, do you? Oh, everybody's up in arms because the Heritage president said something about Tucker Carlson. And it's like, we don't care about any of that stuff. But stop talking about the Heritage thing because it's scaring Jim Carafano away from the show. I haven't been able to have him on for like 2 weeks now. First it was a cold, and then he's traveling and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I know what's happening here. Jim is afraid I'm going to ask him about the Tucker Carlson thing. That's why he's not coming on. And then I was going to then say, don't worry, I won't ask you about the Tucker Carlson thing, but then that'll just simply make him think that like I know all about it. And I want to pretend I don't know anything about it so he can be sure I'm not going to ask him about it. But the more these people keep talking, I don't know why this is still a thing. Like nobody cares. Half the people on the planet don't even know what the Heritage Foundation is, although it's a great operation, but my goodness gracious. It's like, Kathleen has a look like old topsiders. Yeah, Julie, I know, topsiders. Hey, that's from our era. We knew people like that who had the topsiders on. Anyway, Kathleen mentions too, I think this is a good thing. She says conservatives need to definitely stay involved in Republican politics. Absolutely. We need to basically tell the George Bush people and all those Republicans that they're not welcome. This isn't their party anymore. This is our party. And so if you want to come in, then you're going to have to make adjustments. But it's kind of like, the ex-husband, your wife is remarried. Okay. Your wife is remarried. So stop coming over. Okay. And then you should shut the door. That's how it works. Okay. So it's like, at that point, that's what we've got to tell people. That's why we got to keep staying involved to let them know how happily remarried we are to the true principles of the Constitution and conservatism. And you old wife beaters and lazy people are not part of us anymore. We're amazing and feeling good. All right, I want to get to this real quickly because this is actually a good example of how some Republicans have failed us. I've said before back in the day that Bill Clinton had a better record of punishing employers of illegal aliens than G.W. Bush did. Our true illegal alien problem kind of started with the Bush folks, but it was also prevalent during the Clinton administration as well. Our border has been that way, but the Republicans and the Bush Republicans exacerbated the problem because they were trying to help out all of their Republican buddies with this whole thing and with cheap labor and everything else. So here's a story, and this is really super important. The owners of a Michigan-based plumbing company were just arrested for employing and harboring nearly 250 illegal immigrants across 4 states, generating $75 million in revenue. This is only a start. Millions of jobs that belong to Americans have been stolen from
This
us.
is the business in question that has a Metro Detroit couple in hot water with federal investigators.
It's not just simply an immigration case that's charged, it's also money laundering.
And these are the federal documents investigators say detail the inner workings of the plumbing empire built by Moises Orduña Rios and his wife Raquel over a 5-year period.
And you think this is the only company that has been doing this? Absolutely zero possibility of that. That these are just that this is the only company that is doing this. So this is all over the place.
The Plymouth Township couple owned Orduña Plumbing, Manpower Supply, and allegedly hired undocumented workers, took their passports, and crammed them into tight living quarters. These photos from the criminal complaint. The federal complaint focuses on Rochester, New York, but Michigan, Ohio, and North Carolina are also mentioned as places the company operates. According to the complaint, out of 253 workers, only 6 were in the U.S. legally and permitted to work. The complaint claims the husband and wife generated $74 million in their plumbing business that was based out of Michigan.
So whenever you use money that is unlawful and you deposit it into a bank and you manipulate the banking system, that's money laundering. And that's what the government's alleging here.
Former federal prosecutor Matthew Schneider reviewed the 27-page complaint.
Anyway, this story is going on forever. A minute and 30 seconds is about as much time as you need. This is an eternity. But the reality is that this is happening all over. Why we're not cracking, the reason why we have an illegal alien problem in this country as it is that we are hiring them. If there wasn't a market, an attraction, or honey, then the bees wouldn't come. So these illegal aliens are coming for the supposedly a better life or whatever. Yeah, they're coming for employment because employers are hiring them. And believe me, I know employers sometimes say, well, we didn't know because they have these things. It's like baloney. You know what you're doing, and they ought to start arresting these people and charging them. So it's so weird. It's kind of like when we talk about the CDLs to illegal aliens. Has one trucking company been pinched for hiring illegal aliens with phony CDLs and no training? Has one trucking company been busted for this? No. It's crazy, huh? So the other shoes all need to drop on that one. Man, they're still trying to force prevailing wages and all that other nonsense. The Show Me Institute is all over that. I'll have that for you on the other side here.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint, formulated to outsmart the elements. Rain or shine, sleet or snow, mold or mildew. Our home exterior coatings intelligently designed to stand up to Mother Nature. Call 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
If you have a tree that you think is dead, it might not be dead. Why don't you try to save it first with Roots Plus? Roots Plus can help you save your tree and keep your cash. RootsPlusLLC.com. That's RootsPlusLLC.com or 314-440-3662.
Hi, it's Mark Harder with RE/MAX Results, the largest RE/MAX franchise in the region. The summer housing market is hot, and the fall market looks to be as hot. If buying or selling a home is in your future, it is time to act now. Someday is not a day on the calendar, but today is. Call me, Mark Harder, for fast results. RE/MAX Results, 314-852-8933, 314-852-8933, and start packing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know that, well, it's Christmas time, people. It's getting there, right? And so what you need to do is make sure you go to the premier jeweler in town and the one that supports your style of life, that supports your view of the world, that supports even your faith in God. Can you believe that? That's all wrapped into one with Newstetter's fine jewelry, Doherty, Ferry, and Big Bend, wowdiamonds.com. There are a lot of people who will go to a jeweler but they're not really going to a jeweler. They're going to a place that is selling jewelry. It's a big difference, though, when you have a family-run operation that believes in the principles of good faith transactions, and they're not just transactions to the Newstetter family, Richard and the gang, and Diana and Jackie and Anna and Cindy and all those folks there. It's not just a transaction for them. It is a relationship, which is why they have people coming back, which is why they have 25-year-olds coming in whose mom and dad got their engagement ring through Newstetter's fine jewelry. It's a legacy. It is a family-run operation. It is a godly place with great pricing and old school approaches to things. So they have a layaway program, and that's pretty cool. Not many people do that because they want cash on the barrelhead right away because they're salespeople. These are jewelers. They love the whole experience. They want you to have that experience. So, for instance, Diana will give you the experience of seeing the emergence of the stacker rings, which are really super cool. And women love them. And when you're talking about a great Christmas gift, you have to imagine that this will be one. So the stackers are beautiful, elegant, and very diverse in terms of like the stones they have. So your lovely one can decide on Tuesday to stack the rings differently than she's going to decide on Thursday. And it's that kind of thing. It's fun. And plus you can give them ongoing. So by the time they'll have 15 stacker rings by the time everything's done. Anyway, those are cool. Jewelry's gold is back. The emeralds are great. The diamonds, these are incredible. These are lab grown or they're mined. The only difference is the fact that one is lab grown and one is mined, but they're all beautiful. That's where we get the term WowDiamonds.com. And the Bulova watches are cool too. The Frank Sinatra line of the Bulova watch, as well as all kinds of varieties. So check it out at WowDiamonds.com. It's Newstetter's fine jewelry right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend.
Colombo and Company.
The Missouri AG just issued a court filing to protect the state's new congressional map from growing opposition. We'll discuss the latest Thursday with Rep. Justin Sparks.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone.
I can hear the truck tires coming up the gravel.
It looks like the
and it's not like her to drive that.
Looks like the Rascal Flats people are experiencing a breakup. And
footsteps on the front porch. I hear my doorbell. She
used to come inside. Yeah. Yeah, you can tell, buddy. I'm sorry. Golly. No,
Here comes the last time. Here comes the start of every sleep.
what a great song. Rascal Flats, man. Great. Can't listen to that too long. Yeah.
I got a woman way over town that's good to me. Oh, yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Allman Report here, and an old buddy of mine. His name is David Stokes, and he's doing some great things at the Show Me Institute. Hey, man, how you doing, David?
I'm doing great, Jamie. Great to be on the air with you. I love that bumper, classic blues bumper music right there. That's good stuff.
Oh yeah, little Ray Charles, man. What a great song too. I think there's another. I think who's the guy who does a remake of that? Jamie Foxx or someone like that. And he has a good one too. David, I love it hearing you. You're oftentimes on with Chris Arps and Tim Jones, so it's really a pleasure to have you on the show with me. And man, you guys are on this one. I thought that all this prevailing wage and minority contract stuff, it seems like it's so like 1990s, but it's back in St. Louis County in the formulation of Bill number 182, and you testified against this. What is this?
Well, this bill does a lot, and it's almost all bad. It started out simple enough. It was just updating the county's procurement code, meaning the rules at which The county goes out for things to bid, buys products from vendors, all that stuff. All pretty basic stuff, and the type of thing that sure gets you update the laws every decade or so, no big deal. Except that a couple weeks ago, the sponsor, Councilmember Webb, she just dropped a substitute bill on it that added in all this new stuff, all this, just social engineering, and dramatically increasing the amount of projects in St. Louis County, public and private, that are going to be covered by requirements to pay prevailing wage, to have mandates for women and minority-owned contractor percentages, to have apprenticeship programs. There's nothing wrong with apprenticeship programs for companies and unions that have them. They're wonderful. But they shouldn't be mandated to have one in order to bid on a county project or the other projects covered by this rule. That's a terrible idea. So it's just social engineering top to bottom to benefit the supporters. I want to give the benefit of the doubt that people think this is good and needed in St. Louis County, but it's not. It's not needed. It's not going to be beneficial. It's going to make everything much more expensive. It's going to drown people in paperwork, and it's just a terrible policy idea.
Yeah, well, it's interesting too, and we all know. I mean, we just fall off the turnip truck here. We all know the reality here, and that is this whole minority contracting thing is a sham anyway, because it's abused, and they'll have token women or token blacks or something in their positions just to get the minority contract. And on top of that, the one thing I would want to ask these people like Shalonda Webb or anybody else is why. Like, for instance, just specifically with the minority contracting, why? It seems like a really basic question, but I'm not quite sure they could really answer it to a point that would be convincing.
Well, to get to your first point about how these women and minority-owned business, disadvantaged business enterprise rules, as they're called, they're absolutely rife with fraud. And the testimony that we put online at showmeinstitute.org cites several studies of that to give those numbers. Just a year or so ago, there was a Clayton businessman indicted for this type of fraud. So right in, that business was operated just a few blocks away from the county council offices. So then you get to, like, why are they doing it? Well, the Post-Dispatch story from about 2 weeks ago that first talked about this new substitute bill, it made it very clear that when they first introduced it, many on the council didn't even know what was in it, and that union officials had basically written parts of the bill, the apprenticeship program rules, the prevailing wage rules. Perhaps the most disturbing part is, some of these rules applied to major county programs and county projects previously. But what they've done here is they've lowered the threshold in which they go into effect. So it's going to apply to more county projects and county vending contracts. But now also any project that gets any type of county tax subsidy or tax incentive is now covered by these new rules. And those are private projects. Now, I'm no defender of tax subsidies and tax incentives. You know that, Jamie.
Yeah.
And your listeners do. And I'd be happy for the county to say no to far more of them. But to address them by just drowning those things in red tape and regulation and social engineering is going in the absolute wrong direction. So that's why it's just so concerning that many more projects, including private projects, are now going to be covered by these just absurd over-the-top rules and regulations.
Yeah, this whole thing, especially with the minority contracting, it doesn't even sound, and the prevailing wage as well, but the minority contract doesn't even sound remotely constitutional. Like, how could you possibly pick winners and losers when it comes to public contracts?
Well, I, of course, agree with you. There are, according to the law, there are ways that it can be done that are constitutional, and there are ways that can be done that aren't. For instance, what the city of St. Louis had until earlier this year when the mayor canceled the program, that was written in such a way that it was unconstitutional and certainly violated the rules of the new rules put in place by the Trump administration, where it just flat out said such and such, some percentage must go to women businesses, such must go to minority-owned businesses, with no attempt to sort of make a requirement that there were disadvantaged businesses and the like. There are ways that you can set these programs up. I don't think you should do this, but you can, to make them legal even under the new Trump administration rules. It doesn't mean St. Louis County shouldn't do it, and they certainly shouldn't dramatically increase the cost of all these projects through requirements for apprenticeship programs and prevailing wage, which are going to limit the amount of people who can bid on them in the first place. And then the limitation on the number of bidders is going to raise costs. It's just bad top to bottom. And we go into a lot of detail on it at our testimony online. And, a lot of people showed up at Tuesday's hearing to oppose it. They tried to adopt another substitute bill, which was defeated, interestingly. And then they held the current bill, and the current bill is plenty bad. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens at next Tuesday's council meeting when this will be up for passage again.
So these things happen, and we've seen what happens when they do hearings and that kind of thing. And it's kind of like when they do hearings on TIFs and tax credits and things like that, is that it's a foregone conclusion it's going to happen. They're just doing basically due diligence or whatever you want to call it in terms of making people, giving people the appearance that their voice matters. In the end, have you guys been able to assess the vote tally on this one?
Well, no, Jamie, I'm a lousy political consultant. So my political predictions would be actively bad, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But look, I do know this. At the meeting on Tuesday, Councilmember Webb tried to introduce another substitute bill. I don't know if that substitute bill made it worse or better, and nobody else on the council voted for it. So that new substitute bill didn't move forward at all. I don't know if that means that a majority of the council members like the prior bill, or if the majority of the council members want to kill the whole thing. I have no idea. I know that while the county executive has not come out publicly on the bill, that some of his staffers a few hearings ago were talking about how this was going really too far and could negatively impact how the county operates its contracting system.
Well,
so look, I like to say this bill is going to be great for economic development in St. Charles, Jefferson, and Franklin County. And it's going to drive a lot of investment there and a lot of development and contracts there. It will unfortunately be terrible for economic growth in St. Louis County, which is what you would hope the council members are concerned with.
I was just about to say, and you took the words right out of my mouth, brother, and that is that nothing is more of a deterrent to fledgling new business and investments than the social engineering you're talking about here. And it will make people go absolutely the other way. And that's an abdication of responsibility if these for the community and for their constituents, if these council members move forward with this. Well, David Stokes, we'll check out you have all that info up at showmeinstitute.org. So thank you very much for that. That's where we could see what the basis of the opposition really is, and people can arm themselves with that kind of knowledge, which is something you guys are doing on a ongoing basis with almost everything. So thank you, David. Appreciate your time.
Always love talking with you, Jamie, and hopefully in the next week or two, come back on and give you an update. Hopefully good news on the bill in the future.
That sounds good. That is David Stokes with the Show Me Institute people. So they're doing great work over there. Ashlyn, thank you so much for everything. You guys, thank you for listening to the show and for being here for the 3 Martini lunch and all the common sense you need. There's more of it on the way with Tony Colombo and Colombo and Company. Have a blessed rest of your day.
Chris Arps here, and I'm thankful for my relationship with Christ, my wonderful wife, Becky, and the opportunity to speak to the great listeners of News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo, and as we approach another holiday season, I am thankful that my family continues to be happy and healthy. Oh, and I'm also glad I don't work for George Soros.
News Talk STL, celebrating family and friends this season of Thanksgiving. Brought to you by Candices.